What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Fast. Today, let's get started with Michael Chandler reflects on UFC 309 loss. Michael Chandler still thinks he's superior to Charles Oliveira, despite the results between them showing otherwise. After Chandler suffered a second-round TKO loss to Oliveira in a vacant lightweight title bout at UFC 262, the pair had a rematch this month at UFC 309 in New York. It was Charles who prevailed again, earning a lopsided unanimous decision victory over the former three-time Bellator title holder. The fight marked Chandler's return to competition, following a 2-year layoff where he waited for a fight with Conor McGregor that never materialized. I am not happy with my performance. I would give myself a 2 out of 10. I believe I beat Charles Oliveira 9 times out of 10. Obviously, I've lost to him twice now. 2 out of 2. I have a 100% loss rate to Charles Oliveira. I am so excited to get healthy, and I am so excited to give the fans and my supporters and everyone else out there the performance that they deserve. And my coaches, Henry Hooft and Robbie Lawler and these guys, they pour their lives into me. It just was not the performance that I wanted. Robert Whittaker admits to being outmatched by Khamzat Chimaev. Robert Whittaker acknowledges that there wasn't much he could do to stop Khamzat Chimaev from taking him down. Chimaev ran through Whittaker for a first-round submission in their middleweight bout at UFC 308. Whittaker broke down how the fight went down and rated Chimaev's strength. How do you stop that takedown? We did a lot of wrestling, we did a lot of wall work, but it's so hard to replicate that sort of takedown, that sort of commitment. Props to him. Guy knows his strength and played into them to a T and is willing to burn it all there for it. Takedown goes in, ankle picks me off the fence. It was a great takedown. It was a beautiful takedown. But then we get to the wall work and I felt good. Like, he has really heavy sag. He's not ridiculously strong or anything like that, but he had really heavy sag and he was really good at making me work. He was really good at making sure he was active. He was always reaching for underhooks, reaching for ankle picks, trying to get a hook in, making me work, staying active. Even then, I knew that the squeeze that he was pushing on was going to be very hard to sustain that throughout the rounds. Jamahal Hill responds to fans being weird about Jon Jones calling him out. The former UFC light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill had his name brought up in an unexpected conversation during UFC 309 Fight Week. A huge talking point surrounding the event was Jon Jones' future, after many expected that the consensus greatest of all time would retire after headlining Madison Square Garden. Amongst the debate of him fighting Tom Aspinall or Alex Pereira next, Jones suggested a few other options that caught a lot of fight fans by surprise. Jones claimed that he only wanted to compete in fights against guys that are similar to him and in fights that the fans wanted to see. He proceeded to name Derek Lewis and Jamahal Hill as 2 of those matchups, much to the surprise of everyone else. In a recent interview, he gave his reaction to hearing Jones mention his name and the reaction that it brought from the fans. Yeah, 100% it did. However, people getting weird about it, it's like, he called me out? You know what I mean? Which, that's a fight that I've wanted since I got here. That was the first name that came out of my mouth whenever they put a UFC camera in front of me. So for him to say that now to me, lets me know that I've been doing the right things. Dan Hardy wants to see Francis Ngannou focus on MMA. Francis claimed the inaugural super fight heavyweight title by knocking out Renan Ferreira in the first round of the PFL Battle of the Giants main event in October. The Predator is still seeking mega fights in boxing, but Hardy thinks he's better off in the cage. He sees the winner of Friday's heavyweight tournament final between Denis Goltsov and Oleg Popov at the 2024 PFL Championships being his potential next opponent. I think it makes the most sense to me. Goltsov has tried this path several times. He's not been successful, but you can't deny that he's got the skills to beat everybody in the division. It's just a case of him doing it successively on the way to $1 million. He's probably got the best jab in the heavyweight division right now, and I feel like that could be a real problem for Popov in this fight. But I also expect Popov to be durable physically and mentally. Popov is on the longest win streak in the heavyweight division right now, 19 fights. If he's able to come through this and beat Goltsov, that's a clear contender in my opinion, because of the impressive streak that he's on, as well as the fact that he will have just won the World Championship for this year. It's the one that makes the most sense. I think there are other options out there, but whatever Francis does, I would rather him do it in mixed martial arts, because I think we see the best of him. Jon Jones shares retirement plan, prophesies grim future for Tom Aspinall in UFC. Jon Jones has once again taken to X to take aim at Tom Aspinall, and everyone criticizing him for avoiding a matchup with the Englishman. He stated that his legacy as arguably the greatest MMA fighter of all time would remain unblemished, before predicting that Aspinall will suffer his first legitimate UFC loss within his next 2 or 3 fights. Sure, call me a duck for the next year. Eventually, Tom Aspinall will lose within the next 2 or 3 fights, and my legacy will go on as the greatest MMA fighter ever. I'd probably vacate the belt before officially retiring. Let's see how my meeting with UFC goes.